Hi guys, it's me, Joseph Livingston again, and in this video that I will be dedicating to my birthday month in 2026, I shall be finishing up my goal of killing Bill. Yes, indeed, this is the second volume of Kill Bill. And before I go on with the rest of the review, I gotta say that I like the way they set this up. Because this is supposed to be like a comic book or a book series in which you got Volume 1 and Volume 2. But yet, when you look at the credits on this, then you look at the credits online for the cast and whatnot, they have them all one big movie. Which is kind of stupid because I don't get why he broke this up in it like he did. I mean, I can see why he did it felt like, but still, it was kind of wishy-washy on the whole Volume 1, Volume 2 thing. I mean, it's still one big revenge fest, and boy, the action is really good in this one. So, without further ado, let me talk about the actual DVD first, like I normally do. You see here, they got this very special DVD, which matches the cover art on this, very nice. And they got a little thing here for the list of who the bride, Uma Thurman, Beatrice Kiddo, has to kill next. And speaking of which, there's a very odd cutscene in the movie too, which I never actually saw in the first volume. So it's kind of weird because I think that the cutscene comes in the after we are introduced to her being buried and stuff alive, which has to be fear of many people out there. But anyway, there's a when you go to the cemetery in Southern Texas, look for the grave mark Paul Schultz. And then they do a cutscene in which they cut to a classroom with a bunch of little kids in the first or second classroom, and then they have the bride in full adult form with I think pigtails on her head, and she's like, here. So that's supposed to indicate that the kids all died and they're buried in the same cemetery. It's kind of weird. It's kind of random. I think it's more or less like what you would expect from Family Guy at this point. I have no idea why it's there, why they even put that in there. I mean, I can't expect anything different from this guy, Quentin Tarantino. But still, it's just so random. I don't believe that in any of his other movies he done something like this, especially with children. So I don't get it. Maybe you guys in the comments can tell me what it is. And also another thing too in this movie is that the subject is awesome. It's great, but a lot of the tracks aren't as well known by name as some of the others from the first movie, like I Can't Be Understood. I Can't Be Understood. The theme from the Green Hornet, among others. The only recognizable sound and piece of music was when the bride for Ellie Driver, played excellently by Daryl Hannah. Excellent choice, by the way, for casting. They did that ooh, that siren sound that means that the bride is pissed off at whoever she's targeting from the first movie. I neglected to mention, so I'm sorry for that. But there's also a weird guitar part where she bangs the string instrument against Ellie's head or whatever, and it sounds like I remember. I don't know if you guys remember this old cartoon, but something with a horse, and Robert and a horse. Crap, can't think of it now. Little psychic Pokey. Oh, crap. They belong something. Anyway, they used to have superhero personas in the show, and well, it was in a kabong. So whenever Kabang used to hit people, he used to hit them with his guitar. So that's what the sound effect sounds like. Whenever someone goes up, Kabang, they would hit him with the guitar. Also, for the same matter, it's very obvious that when Quentin Tarantino's inspiration for this little masterpiece of a movie, both 1 and 2, was anime. More so in the first half of the movie, in the first half of the saga, but it's still very pronounced in this one. In fact, toward the end of the movie, the people actually talk more than villains monologuing, first of all, and they talk more than Dragon Ball Z villains, the good guys. Oh, you're powerful, and all of this stuff. Yeah, I got very powerful in the end, and blah blah blah, training all this stuff, and removing weighted clothes and all that. It's like, get to the goddamn point. Come to see you fight the monster, the bad guy at the end. So fight him. Don't spend like 20 minutes talking about power levels and how much you boned your sister or something or other. And speaking of which, there's a very odd choice that Mr. Tarantino made for this movie. And I'll discuss that in a little bit too. So, we follow the continuing story about how the bride, played by Uma Thurman, is over there still on her road to revenge for almost killing her and killing her unborn baby and their family and friends and all that. So it tends to jump around from point A to point B to point Z to point D to point F, whatever. It's not in order. And when Quentin wrote this, he wrote this with that in mind, that it wouldn't be done in order. And there are some cameos from the other half of the movie, and it's only in flashbacks the characters that were in the first half of the movie to now. For example, Owen Ishii makes a cameo, and so does Vivica A. Fox in the movie, but that's it. They do the flashback and that's it for those characters. Everyone else new, with the exception of Bill from the first movie for obvious reasons, as well as Ellie Driver, the negative version of the bride, or Beatrix Kiddo. And it's kind of annoying the way that happened. I would like to see them get together for some drinks at a bar or something like that. But before I continue on with that, R.I.P. to Michael Madsen and David Carradine, because they're in this movie, and they're actually brothers in the movie, and they both passed away. David Carradine sooner than Michael Madsen, but still, they deserve respect for this movie because the characters of Bud and Bill were excellent. I believe that David Carradine played more than one character in this movie. I know that there were certainly other people that played other characters, like Gordon Liu played the old Swordmaster Hanzo from the first volume, and he played the master type Pai Mei. It's a very, very funny and very stereotypical Chinese, ancient Chinese master of like weapons and martial arts and all kind of goodies like that. And there was also Michael Parks, which played the sheriff in the first movie, the big crime investigator, as well as the pimp in the last part of the movie, which, to be honest with you, I have no idea why they put him in there, just to show off his Spanish accent skills, I guess. So in any case, this movie is actually really special because it's finally solved the question how to build life, which is, let's be honest, a little bit anticlimactic, but I'll get to that later on. So, we talk about, we open up with Beatrix, crossing for on her list, first two from the first movie, when she and this is a Fox character. And, then they actually show, what happened to the bride, by which, she gets shot at by her former employer, and yeah, there's something very creepy about that too. So anyway, she goes to a temple and is about to get married to her boyfriend or fiance. Again, they met Jesse or Bob in this movie, and she's called by a new name, Beatrix or something or other. So anyway, she doesn't want her baby to be born into Bill's employee. So, which any mother would. But then they showed that the chapel is in Texas, and that there's like they have similar exactly between the piano or the organ in the front, and then they always wonder why there are no family members on the side of the bride. Meanwhile, all of her friends are there, as well as her everyone's over there on the groom side. So what's the big deal with no family for the bride? Meanwhile, Bill shows up, and she talks to him, and she's like very reluctant to tell him what happened. And what does she have? A tracking device up her ass or something? He can follow her wherever she goes. So anyway, it's revealed that she's pregnant. She's very, very visibly pregnant, about to pop any minute now. And it's assumed that the baby is likely the fiance's baby, the Bob or Jesse. And it's quite weird that she's he ends up getting into it for some reason. He's like very like that very I don't want to say bold again, but she's very cautious around Bill about talking about the guy. And he's like, come on, we're all beers together, we're all for a good time. And for some reason, the guy said that Bill, being the closest father figure she has, she gave away for the wedding, for the actual ceremony. This is practice, right? To which Bill says, according to tradition, the groom should not see the bride, when she's about to get married. And for some reason, he says, she's so beautiful in the dress, though, but it'd be a waste not to let me see it now. So apparently this offends Bill so much that he ends up calling out to the rest of the Deadly Viper assassination squad. And they come in there and they end up shooting up the place. And it's kind of weird because they have all the characters from the other movies and the new ones come in and shoot everybody in place. And you don't actually show the King Blue to Beatrix, but it's implied. It's funny because in the first movie they showed that what's her name? That Oren Ishii ends up kicking the bride in the face and the upper torso. Not to harm the baby or anything, but I don't know if it's implied that she shot him too, or she just kicked the woman around or whatever. But it's kind of weird. Plus, in that one, she had like blue eyes, and in this one, she has regular black eyes for whatever reason. So then they show that, and then they even shoot Mr. Rufus. That'd be a similar document. And yes, I had to hit the whole name because was it not appropriate. So anyway, he showed that he's like saying, Bill, please don't do this, don't do this. And he killed her, and he kills her anyway. So they also show the brother Bud. Now, Bud is one of the type of guys who's a hillbilly who's got no life except drinking, and he just got fired from his job at sponsor. So then he goes to the boss, he's fired, and then he goes back home to hit the roofs or whatever. So he said to his brother Bill, he said that woman deserves a revenge for what we did to her, and we deserve to die. And it's a kind of funny seeing that both of those two men are underground right now. God rest their souls. But I just find that real funny, kind of funny, I should say. So anyway, they show that he is very leery about it, because apparently he also knew that there was a phone call that the bride escaped her coma and is about to kill him, and is out for revenge for everybody. And I think that at this point in the story, I think that he probably knows that she killed Owen Ishii and Vivica Fox do. Or RIP to them in the context of the movie. So anyway, they show them duking it. They show him her sneaking under his Joe Park apartment, and then she ends up sneaking out and about to kill him and stuff under the ground, and she ends up opening the door to his trailer, and he's waiting there for her with a surprise for her. The reverse delivery, because she ends up getting a nice chest full of buckshot assault round. Now, I've never been shot before, and I don't want to be shot in the chest at least. But I'm pretty sure that being shot with a shotgun full of rock salt isn't exactly pleasant. It's gotta be more pleasant than dying from the shot. So anyway, she's not that cold. He takes her sword, and it's funny because he said that he hacked the sword that Bill gave him. You know what? That's far from the truth, because he had the sword. But he said that was only worth like $100 on the market or something, $250 or something at the pawn shop. I don't know why Bud said that give the sword away, even though it's priceless and all that stuff, and we'll have to call it Japanese stealing kind of thing. So I guess there was like a fallout between the brother and the two brothers or something, kind of like my uncles, or whatever the case. And something could be engraving on the sword says, to my brother Bud, the only man that I will ever love. Just like my father is the only man that will ever love. Unless I do hatch a little son of my own. Joey the third. So in any case, he decides to take her out back and put her 6 feet under. And very real life is what I'm getting here. And that he has his friend helping out with bearing the poor thing, Beatrice. And I'm glad that they didn't go the same route as he did in the first movie, where it's implied that she was assaulted by Buck. So I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm glad they didn't have to do hillbilly character to do that support thing. Although I have no idea what the word bum pussy actually means. You use that term to describe her and the way she looks at him. I have no idea why they do that, but whatever. So anyway, they have him do that, and they two are being very alive, put in the Catskill polish holes, and they have him show them putting the nails in the inside the coffin, and that's gotta be very, very scary for some people, being very alive, plus claustrophobia. I can't imagine how anyone would feel while watching that movie, that part of the movie. And that's gotta be pretty damn scary for anybody. But what's even scarier is that they show two men actually they show them actually taking the coffin put it in the ground in the hole and putting dirt on top of it. So you don't actually see the men doing it. It's all shot from inside the coffin and hearing the girl screaming and stuff. And then you hear them all covering up with dirt and loads of rocks and stuff. Very, very scary stuff. Just by the oil alone. And luckily, Bud ends up giving her a flashlight. Thank God for that. But, it's pretty scary, the sound of it. And then they do a cut to when, she was under the tutelage of Pai Mei. Which, oh boy, this is real funny, because this guy is like a very stereotypical old ancient Chinese, martial artist, like a master type, like a Master Miyagi type person. In fact, they do an homage when she trained with him, and they do it like the Karate Kid thing, where they do this pose, and then they do the I don't know if this is, I don't know which one came first, this movie or the Avatar Last Airbender TV show, but they did like an animated thing, like they would do in the beginning of Avatar, with all the bending arts in silhouette, and that is very, very cool. I ain't gonna lie. But then they do different style of the fight between her and Pai Mei, which is really awesome because they do like the big claw attack, which Pai Mei obviously dodges and gets away with and stuff like that. And it's really, really cool, especially when she thrusts the Chinese sword at him. And he jumps up and stands right on top of it, like a regular bully or some other anime show villain, or even no, I think I saw the exact move in Crouch Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or maybe that was in the martial arts movie I saw it. It's still cool nonetheless. And my thoughts on that move. So anyway, they showed that, and they also warned the bride that Pai Mei hates blondes, hates women, hates all things Western. So then why do you give the very person that he probably hate him to be his student, and then he make the same mistake with Ellie Driver, but then Ellie Driver ends up killing the guy anyway because she's a spoiled brat. She's just like the bride, only evil, 100% evil, whereas bride's more like a 75% evil. So anyway, they have him train them, and the 1-inch punch, like Goku did in that episode Dragon Ball Super, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I will eventually. But anyway, do the 1-inch punch, and they show that she's constantly training with it, to the point that she's punching the stone wall of her temple house in her sleep and go, my hand. And it's also to note that she's wearing a jumpsuit, like a sweatshirt, like Rocky, or say Karate Kid again, or say even better, the sweatshirt from Punch Out, when Lil Mac get trained for the main event. Anyway, they show that he's eventually getting to be more of he's grown more soft toward her and become more affectionate toward her too, to the point that he's actually letting her eat there. So he's eating with her at the table and such, using chopsticks, and after all the intense training with the hand and all that, her hand's pretty much worn out from all the punching and stuff of bricks and wood planks and stuff. So he has to make her do the chopsticks, and that's hard enough as is without any hand injury, but to do with it is near impossible. So she ends up trying to take a piece of rice with her hand, put it in her mouth. And so the guy said, "Why eat like a dog? Go ahead, eat like a dog," and eat the rice bowl on the ground. And that's real kind of because I take it that eating with chopsticks, especially in a martial art movie, is like a symbol of patience. That you have to be patient to get your reward, to be able to eat anything like Poke in Kung Fu Panda. That you have to be patient and you gotta be skilled to eat. So she eventually gets the hang of it, and he gathers respect for the poor thing. All the rigorous training, getting beaten down, and made fun of and mocked and stuff. She's actually progressing, kind of like Master Roshi and the Tin Dragon Ball and stuff. Goku and Krillin and Yamcha and the like. Well, with that. So unlike Yamcha, the bride actually survives, and they actually show all the things that. By the way, I believe that because the place Paime is Japanese from the other movie. I could be wrong on that, but I'm just gonna say that. So anyway, what's funny is that he says, as a Chinese master and all that, he says that Japanese are a bunch of fatheads. Now, this might be a funny throwaway line, funny joke and stuff. But it comes down from the fact that there's a big rivalry between China and Japan before World War II, even before the Japanese decree and assaulted the Chinese women and so on and so forth. Even before that, they were like, my culture, the Chinese culture, was superior than Japanese culture because Japanese culture is more of an imitation of Chinese culture. We were here first, damn it. And that's pretty much what Paime is saying, that I'm better, I'm Chinese, Japanese can go suck it. You can suck wind. Especially because they're so high and mighty in their own thinking that the Japanese are better than the Chinese and all this stuff. Although I don't know how the Koreans feel about this, but whatever. I don't care about religions about that kind of thing. So anyway, they show that she's working real hard. In fact, she actually learned a trick that even Bill doesn't know from Paime because of her endurance and her strength and her key powers that you can see. And that maybe Paime could actually foretell that Bill would be killed by the bride, by Beatrix Kiddo. So anyway, they go on with that. And they the trick I'm talking about here is the 5-point explode heart check. If you hit 5 pressure points around his heart area, that did take 5 steps up the woods, and then they die. The heart explodes. If you can go bada boom. Now, well, that's really a thing. If someone were to hit the 5 pressure points around the heart or chest area, if that were to call it cataclysmic explosion, because I know a certain first lady that would love to apply that if it were a thing. Speaking for a friend here. So anyway, they show her the origin of the winning punch, which I'm sure is probably a little martial art technique they can do. I guarantee it. I'm not man enough to try it, and my hands are far too delicate for that type of thing. But I'm sure that it probably exists. So they showed Bride actually punching her way through the plywood box of the coffin, and now this is believable that you can actually use the one-handed winning punch to get through a box like that. No, you put your mind to it, you can do anything. I don't believe for a second that you were able to get through solid ground, 6 feet worth of solid ground, to actually get to the top of the ground and, get out, be free and stuff. In fact, he did a myth about this once, in which they actually tested that out, where somebody would be on the ground and they would do the 1-inch punch to carve up a wooden surface, and then they would have to get through the whole 6 feet worth of dirt. And wouldn't you know, surprise, surprise, the person got buried again. So it's possible to break the wood, but not to actually survive the avalanche of dirt and rock and stuff. So that being said, it's quite funny the way she went through I don't know to describe this right, but it was basically like an air pillar, a column of loose rock and soil that made a perfect channel for her to go up through. And also, when she was doing that, she kind of channeled Pamela Isley from when she transformed into Poison Ivy from the Batman and Robin movie. So that's kind of funny, actually, the way she rose through the earth like a plant going to plant fertilizer and planting soil. So that was actually pretty funny. And also, it was funny to see her rising out of the ground like a zombie. And what was even more funny was that she actually went to a little diner full ghost form with dirt coming off her body and hair and everything, saying, "Hey, can I have a glass of water, please?" And that was actually really funny. And tremendously funny. She could have easily went to the nearest house and got a hose of water, or a hose or something, maybe a river or something. Well, but she had to get it from right there. Anyway, it was really funny. So, then go over to one of her sword back, and a driver goes to Bud for it, and it shows how much of we always assume that this organization was like a whole unit, but it turns out that Ellie Driver is kind of better that Bud, a redneck as you call him, will actually beat the bride, the best word that she knew. And this is kind of funny because she described her like I'm a warrior and a good person and all that. But yet in the first movie, in Volume 1, she wanted to kill her in her sleep by giving her poison. So a very dishonorable discharge for the most honorable warrior that you know of. Kind of weird the way that happens. So anyway, they show that she gives him however much money she had for the sword and for killing the bride, because apparently Bill gave out a ransom or something for her demise or head. And she ended up she ended up putting a snake, a black mamba nonetheless, under a layer of the money, which how was she able to get the snake under the money in the first place, and then bring it in the bag to Bud's trailer park without the money or the snake being distributed down to the tiger through the briefcase or through the duffel bag. Anyway, the snake strikes Bud's face 3 times, and then pillars and then kills him while she's over there giving him a monologue with how much the snake will actually kill him in 20 minutes or so. So basically, she's wasting its precious minutes talking about blogging about how much the snake is deadly and all that. And what's also really great is that the snake that killed Bud and later on Ellie is a black mamba. That was Beatrix's name in the Dudley Piper Assassination Squad, presented to the others. I know that over in Ishii, I think her name was Cottonmouth. I believe that it was Cottonmouth. Anyway, so that's kind of like a poetic justice right there. So anyway, they end up fighting each other when the bride ends up trying to go after Ellie again for revenge, trying to kill her twice. With the poison and then with the shouldn't then and there. Goes after her and then she does a very unrealistic double kick, kind of Dixie in wrestling shows. And of course his feet first, barefoot first, because Quentin Tarantino, of course. That's the only reason we need Quentin Tarantino for all these foot shots and that kind of thing. The force is strong in him. So anyway, they show Ellie fighting off and everything. The perfect equal to Miss Tito in strength and looks too, because both women look excellent. And the fights are very epic and very interesting because she tried to reach for a sword, get her own sword, and she can't open it up because of the width of the trailer. Doesn't allow for Katana to be opened up like that. So they end up fighting each other, and it's very funny because at one point, to show Ellie doing a hot tip to Beatrix, but Beatrix spins around and grabs her and uses her own wisdom against her, and then shoves her right into the bathroom. And she ends up trying to suffocate her in the toilet bowl, which is where she belongs, pretty much. And what's even funnier is that she ends up successfully flushing out the system to get some air. Now, I guess in the Trinity episode, I don't know if they were actually trying to reference this movie, but it was a very interesting coincidence. And as you can hear, in the back of the DVD case for Bill Playington, actually do a good job in showing that when the two of them are actually fighting each other, they're a pretty good match for one another. I'm sure that if they were in like a more open area, it'd probably be a closer fight. So then she ends up finding her getting Beatrix finds the sword that Bud has. I don't know why he lied about it, giving him the sword or whatever. Maybe the family rivalry or something or other, trying to show that that he did something for his brother, so he decided to give away his position in the company. And also, it was good that Ellie killed him because of revenge against him from his brother, and that it showed the infighting between the delayed by birth assassination squad members. So anyway, they show him her fighting with Ellie Driver, and they pretty much blow match in that. They both fight dirty, both kick each other in the crotch, they both kick each other in the shins, and everything else. Also, look at this cover. I don't believe that she ever wears this black jacket top. You know that in the first one, the yellow jumpsuit was famous. It made her famous in this movie. But I don't know about this jacket. So anyway, that's more of an Ellie Driver type thing. But anyway, when it looks like Ellie's about to win, what she does is Beatrix ends up taking her free hand and taking out her eyeball, her eye, because as punishment for being a stubborn prick, jackass, Padme ends up punishing her by taking her one of her eyes, one of her nice pretty blue eyes. And that enraged her so much that she ended up killing Padme by poisoning his fish heads, of all things. I don't understand either, folks, but apparently that's like an Asian Chinese dish. Yeah, we'll have to think about that better. But anyway, he poisoned him. Now, Beatrix was more of a nicer person than that. And sure, she didn't like it, but she knew that the train was necessary to survive. And he ends up taking revenge out for killing one of our mentors. It'd be kind of like someone like if someone decided to kill Master Roshi, and Goku would be furious with the person. Anyway, we show him show about the eyeball, which I got into that takes direct influence from how Padme took her out. one of the eyes, and that were kind of like revenge for it on his behalf, for destroying him, for killing him. So well done. So anyway, Elise taken out guard. She had lived in the bedroom, cursing, screaming, saying I would be hell for fucking bitch, all this. No more this noble warrior and noble fighting and that kind of thing. She just wants her dead. No, parts are dead, all dead. So anyway, she's ripping up everything. She's taking out everything in the place there. She's destroying the mirror, glass everywhere. She's just going hysterical because obviously she took out her eyesight. She should be like a tough Beifang, throwing around and stuff, and then getting the power of seismic sense and all that. So anyway, it's also implied that the same snake that killed Bud, the Black Mamba, killed Ellie Driver too, because she when Bud leads her own sword, and then she crushes the eyeball under her foot. Obviously, foot fetish thing again. So she looks at the snake and is meanwhile the snake backs off of her. So she closes the wind closes the trailer door behind her. Meanwhile, Ellie is still assuming that the girl, the bride, is still there with her, and Bud. Apparently, they both Bud's already dead at this point, I believe, and I like still thinking that she's in the bathroom and still punching it at the head for her and that kind of thing. So anyway, the snake eventually gets her and kills her. So it's kind of poetic justice that she got revenge on him because he plugged up the eye and destroyed it like Primate did. I don't know if Primate destroyed the eye or he kept it in some kind of jar or something, or just threw it out. But anyway, it was revenge that, and it was revenge that the Black Mamba, her own spirit animal, as it were, her own mascot, were to kill both Bud and Ellie, both when they were trying to collect their money. So that was actually really, really pertinent. I still don't know how the door closed because the bride was far away at that point. So anyway, we have the bride now trying to get Bill, the final boss, if you will. And this is where it gets kind of boring actually, because she goes to see Guatemalan or Puerto Rican pimp. I'm not sure which one it is. He's definitely a pimp. And it's kind of convenient as to why if you go to him specifically, because he would look like a father figure to Bill, even though they're about the same age or something. And then he points to he points him out, and then she goes to the couple residence of Bill to kill him for obvious reasons. And he's surprised to see that her baby is still there. And then he didn't kill the kid, but he's like gonna raise her up to be like herself under Bill's tutelage. So she can't have that. So I like the way that she ends up um, talking to Bill about how, wait, she ends up talking to Bill, seeing him playing around and stuff, and they show, what did I put there? I don't want to say, but I'm thinking about how to say it. Okay. They show her putting the kid away to bed and then leaving her a locket for her in jewelry and stuff to remember by if in case the last conversation with Bill is going to be a lot of time that she sees her. I like the kind of sweet tender moment. And it was during that time when she revealed to Bill about the time that he turned on her, that she turned on him and wanted to become a free agent. And he ended up treating with some kind of accelerated truth serum and it takes a long time for it to work. So in the meantime, they do chat Kathy about Superman, superheroes, and life talks and all that. So it's kind of boring, kind of dull, kind of uninteresting. I try to think more than say a Doug Worthy character. But anyway, they also show that he said, why did you leave? Why did you want to leave me? Now, we only thought that Deadly Viper Assassination Squad was basically a high-paying job, a highly skilled job that Beatrix and the others were to have, and that it was basically a side thing, a side hustle, where their actual lives were separate from that. We've seen that with ONEC, we've seen that with Fika A5, we've seen that with Bud too, and that they have lives besides what they besides the thing you can do for Bill. But for some reason, Beatrix was special in that it's implied that when that she puts it that she was one of his girls along with the other women in the group, but she was one of his girls, like kind of like his possession, like his daughter, his lover, whatever. Even though they weren't biologically together. So she said that when he went to China or something to assassinate somebody else, she took a pregnancy test. I don't know why, but she took it at that moment. And right before that happened, right after she found out that she was pregnant, she was visited by, I'm not joking here, the prettiest and sexiest assassin I've ever seen in my life. That'd be Karen, played by Helen Kim. And if you look her up, you'll find that IMDb stuff on from this movie and something else too. But then if you look up Helen Kim, like I ran search to find a bunch of other people. like a reality star, which is not as attractive, I don't think, as a movie star, but whatever. Anyway, I would really like to get to know Helen Kim from this movie, so follow me if you see this video, or anyone like her. But anyway, when Beatrice was about to marry her fiance, Bob or Jesse, I forgot which one it was now, it was implied that the baby was his, that she had sex with him and all that she had the baby with him. But being that Bill encompassed all his life with Miss Kiddo and everything else, that he was her role in it, and vice versa. It also implied that she couldn't have gotten pregnant by her fiance, and that's why he got so upset with her that she left Bill for the other guy. So it's weird. It's weird. It's almost like he was saying that Beatrix and Bill were lovers at one point, and that the kid belongs to him. I don't think I got the same impression from the movie, but I certainly did on my last. I was gonna say probably through, but my last viewing of the movie. I don't know, that sounds kind of weird. It was implying that she got pregnant by Bill. So in any case, she told the assassin that because of the fact that she's pregnant, she wants to call all off. She go back without assassinating her target. And the girl Karen goes back and doesn't report her loss. Or reports that she already killed the target, even though the target's alive and well. Because when you're a mother, you gotta worry about the safety of the kid too. Especially being in a vulnerable spot in your stomach, in your uterus, or whatever you want to call it. So, I think that this whole thing with the mutual understanding about motherhood and stuff struck Karen as a woman, not as an assassin, not as a would-be target trying to get away from it or pursue her, but more of a woman thing, which is good. So anyway, I like the part where both women had guns trained on themselves, like Uma had her pistol trained on her forehead, and Miss Kim had a shotgun pointed right at her face. And she looked, just read the packet, read the strip and see that you that I'm pregnant. So, while the girl was looking at the packet, her eyes were on the bride. So could have been so that while she was looking at the packet of the pregnancy test, the bride could easily put one right between her eyes, but she didn't, because she trying to make her understand that she wouldn't have fly now. Because now she's got more agency to leave her alone. So anyways, the assistant backs out of the room, then shuts the door behind her, all the while looking at Uma and keeping a gun trained on her head. So she says, through the hole in the door that she blew open at first, she said, congratulations, congratulations on the baby, and then runs away. Now that to me is really super funny. I'm actually surprised that Quentin Tarantino didn't make Miss Kim do the scene in socks. Although he might have had to do it in high heels for just that reason, because he got the foot thing. And they actually do show quite a few scenes with Uma's feet hanging out, and the part about the crush of the eyeball could be seen as a foot fetish thing too. Although by the eyeball, I have no idea. But anyway, they show her running away and stuff like that. And let's see here. Yeah, that's very funny to me. And we never see her again. It'd be funny to one of the background characters in the Orishi fight in the Blue Leaves restaurant. So anyway, they told that, and it's also implied that Bill didn't want to leave, that he wanted to have a relationship with Beatrix, even though it probably wouldn't work out very well, being an employer and stuff like that. So anyway, they break up because she doesn't want to bring the child to be like her, like an assassin, put him at risk and something like that. So they end up fighting each other, and it's a very brief fight with her doing her pulling out the sword out of her sheath and stuff. And I like the way she bounces off the back of the floorboard with the sword and everything, and then he tries to stab her with the sword, with his own sword, and it ends up going into the sheath of his own sword and this and that and everything. Very good choreography. Unfortunately, it's over real quick because she does that 5-point palm exploding heart trick. And he said, how I look? And then she's very tearful and she says, you look ready. I mean, how would one react if they knew that they had to take 5 steps and then they would die? I'll tell you one thing, if that would happen to me, if anyone would have given me the heart trick, the 5-point exploding heart trick, and then they told me I would have 5 more steps until I died, I'd be like, I'm never leaving my wheelchair again for my life. Yeah, I would do everything in the wheelchair. Speaking of which, what would happen if Bill took 1 step and then he just froze there for an hour or so, and then take 4 more steps? Will he die? Or, like I said, that happened to somebody else. Anyway, in a wheelchair already, would and they took 1 step, and then they didn't move out for a day or so. Sorry, with to count, or whatever how long the break would be between the that the steps would just like would be so much that it would weaken the system inside the chest cavity that it would end up blowing anyway. So anyway, he dies in a very anticlimactic way, in a very respectful way, I should say. And she's all crying and stuff because she killed her mentor, she killed her father figure, and she killed the possible father of the girl. And that she respected him enough for that. She didn't want to give away at the wedding. She kept hitting him, Uncle Bill. Which, yeah, it's kind of weird, kind of weird. Maybe she didn't want to give away because she knew that he'd be pissed off that this is the mother of my kid, and I don't want her to go away to anybody else except me, and maybe my brother. But anyway, he also implied that she's a killer through and through, except for carrying God. But she's a killer, and she working at tables, waiting at tables, like being a housewife, being a house mother, and all that. That'd be like a disguise, like Peter Parker and Superman, and blah blah blah, all other stuff too. So he knew who she was. He knew that she was a cold-blooded killer. And it'd be like a disguise. Now, on the first day that she was free and so was the kid of Bill's influence and the very first assassination was influence, they stay in an old hotel room and they watch one of Bill's cartoons about magpies. You know how I know about that cartoon? I watched that same cartoon when I was a kid about the magpies and the sharing it, stuff like that, making a nest or something. So I remember that cartoon very well, as well as other cartoons that were made like Xavier and movies like that. Yeah, I thought that's maybe one about it, but guess not. Anyway, I mean, it's so funny that I saw this cartoon, and I was like, I gotta remember I saw that cartoon for this video on magpies. I don't know if it's in situation now, but it's pretty funny. And it's the same one that Hunter in the cartoon that they blew a barrel around his head and his head was like a black ash burn. So he said, the magpie said, "Oh, what a nice little flower." Because of this cartoon together. Anyway, I love Kill Bill. 1 and 2. This movie is the bomb. I love Stupid. I love the first one even more because there are less plot points that I can bitch about, and the enemies are nice too. Let's see here now. When you figure out that Bill a little bun in Beatrix's oven. But that's the theory anyway. It kind of has a intriguing spin on the movie. I'm not gonna lie, it's very odd. And I like the whole, when she becomes pregnant, then she just tried to stop or killing in twisted ways and finding new life and new friends. Whereas for the Assassination Squad, is there is no actual history of Beatrix. There's just bloodshed and killing and violence and each other. I believe that Bill adopted her somewhere along the lines. Maybe not adopted, but was a father figure to her. Which is even stranger when you get to replicate the idea. And let's see here, like Ellie Driver, like her, what happened to her at the end. I like what very, very gracefully taken care of. I think Bud, that teacher nun, I liked what he was a very lovely, evil version of the hero. And I liked what Daryl Hannah looks awesome in this movie. Same with everybody else. I like Lucy Liu, Vivica A. Fox, Michael Madsen, and and Daryl Hannah, and Beatrix, Uma Thurman, as well as David Carradine. Also, I like the way the film Boston place at the club looked a lot like a older version of Al Pacino. Also, I like the way the stripper there told Bud to go clean the toilets, and Bud said, "God, we're just fine. Take care of yourself." And as a pun words for him, for her. And let's see here. I just like what happened to her. Like Padme, I like the fact that they show Padme as the old master that always plays with his beard and stuff like that and puts it aside. I like the way it never gets in the way of combat or training. Even though in real life, if anyone had a beard like that, it would take an hour to brush it out, and the hair too. But let's see, this movie is epically awesome. I wish they made a Kill Bill Volume 3. And let's see here, it would also be kind of nice to have a prequel to this, like talking about Bill's career before he formed the Deadly Viper Assassin Squad. And having Lucky Ladies as being their squad members, because they have four beautiful women as being their employees. Besides Bud, he's lucky past two working with four beautiful women. Which Billy, I also wonder if Bill had any other dalliances with the four other women. The three other women. I don't think so, because they have their own lives. Where Beatrix is especially tied to Bill for whatever reason. Anyway, I thank you for watching my video on Kill Bill Volume 2. I did this for my birthday month because this is awesome. I can't wait to do other movies and videos on stuff based on the Kill Bill story. like Blue White Samurai and other stuff. And I did this for my birthday month, 2026. And I give it a happy year because it's awesome. This movie. It's awesome, baby. And each kill seems personal and seems unique to each person. And I love it all. Even though it's kind of moved the talking, but exposition, especially for the final boss build. I feel like we should hear anyone on my channel and stuff. Would like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. You can also contact me for future information on my videos by calling me or texting me at 631-707-3707. Or you can follow me on Twitter or X at PNelsonPro. Get my email at kjsviewingchannel@gmail.com. So I would like to salute all you people out there who like Morgan Freeman, David Carradine, Michael Madsen, and the other people in this movie for Quentin Tarantino's masterpieces. Peace out, my brothers and sisters. I'll see you in the next video. All you girls and guys in Interland, cut and 10 out.